Hello, and welcome to Conversations with JR. I hope that all is well with you. Today I would like to talk to you about a topic that might be disturbing for some people to hear, and it might so enlighten and inform others. I am going to be talking about domestic violence, abuse in relationships. And I'm going to be talking about it first of all from a personal experience. Being a person who have had experienced abuse in my relationship, and they call us domestic survivors. And I've survived. I survived the abuse in my relationship, and I was one of the lucky ones to survive, to get out, to heal, and to be able to move on with my life. And we all know that there's a lot of statistics out there about domestic violence. Domestic violence knows no respect of person. It knows no respect of person. Uh, Rich, poor, young, old, educated, non-educated, And there is a shame with some women, and men get abused too, so that's no laughing matter. Men are abused in their relationships also, and they are the most silent about it. There is shame attached to a person when they realize that they are trapped in an abusive relationship. There is shame because the shame is for some people, how did I allow myself to get trapped in a relationship like this? And there is also fear of the unknown and fear of leaving. In our own families, in our own churches, we know of someone who is trapped in an abusive relationship. The term for it is domestic violence. And domestic violence is defined as a pattern of abuse, behavior in any relationship that is used by one partner to gain and maintain control over the other partner. That is the signs of domestic violence. It happens over time. With my experience, I met my Prince Charming, who I thought was my Prince Charming, and he exhibited all of the qualities that any woman would want in a man. He was very attentive. He was very honest, so I thought. He gave me my heart's desire. He said yes to everything. I saw no wrong in this man until we became one, as they would say, until we lived together underneath the roof as man and wife. And then that's when it all started to unfold. And it's a gradual buildup for some men. For some men, it is a gradual buildup. And it was so gradual for me that I didn't realize what was happening to me until I started to think, is this happening to me? Am I in an abusive marriage? This cannot be. But there are 5 parts, 5 stages of 5 types, I'm sorry. There's physical abuse, where you're being hit and you're being scars are left and bruises are being left and bones are being broken and blood is being spilled. That's abuse relationship. Sexual. A lot of people don't think that a husband cannot force himself on his wife. Yes, he can. There are lots of times in an abusive relationship where women have disconnect themselves from that part of their life, but still they are being forced out of fear. And I know a lot of people out there are going to be listening to this and looking at this and say, no one can force you. If you have not experienced this type of relationship and this type of fear, you really need to think about what it is that you are saying. Because there are a lot of women who, after the abuser finished physically abusing them, then he wants to make up with them. And these women are forced They are forced to save their lives and not to be physically beaten again to go along sexually with their partners. And some are degraded, and some have to do sexual acts that they don't want to do. There's emotional abuse, there's economic abuse, and there's psychological abuse. All of these are under the umbrella of domestic violence. And what happens is that the one place that you feel that you can be safe at in your home becomes a place of terror and fear. And if there are children involved, the mother is busy every single day trying to protect her children and shield her children from this abuse. So she winds up taking the blunt of all of this abuse. Now, a lot of people come from abusive homes that they witness as children, as little boys and as little girls. They witness this abuse, and they grow up to feel and to think that this is normal. In the case of little boys, they are sometimes taught that this is the way you keep your woman, your wife, the mother of your children, in check. That she is not supposed to be the ruler over you. She is not supposed to have any power over you. You are the man. You're the king of the castle. You put your feet down and you put it on her. And this is what little boys, they grow up to be abusers because this is what they know. Same thing with some young women. They grew up in a home where they watched their mothers, their grandmothers, their aunts being abused. Whether it be sexually, whether it be physical, whether it be economic, they witness abuse. And then when they go out to engage in relationships, they accept this abuse as a normal part of being in a relationship because this is what they've seen and they don't know any better. Now, in my case, I had very low self-esteem. I was truly looking for love. I wanted to be attached to someone, and I wanted to feel this love that everybody talked about. I wanted to feel this love. And sometimes what happens is your abuser, they know this. They know you have low self-esteem. They know that you have attached yourself to them, and they become your all. And they use that against you. So I experienced verbal abuse. I experienced psychological abuse. I experienced economical abuse. Even though I was working, but I had to work so hard because I was only given a certain amount of money to cover bills in the house. And the rest of it, I had to work to cover it. And there was no need to ask for anything extra because I was not going to get it. The psychological abuse came in the form of isolating me from my family. Every time I went around my family, I had to be interrogated when I come home. Who was there? How many people was there? What did we eat? What time did I leave? Was there any extra people coming over? And I had to go through this interrogation over and over and over. It was at work when I came home. I had to be interrogated. If I said I was going to be home at 6, and I didn't get home until 6:15, 6:30, I had to account for that half hour. And it got to the point where at night he would not allow me to sleep. Because he would just go on and on and on, and he wanted to argue and talk and go on and on and on. And I had to give an account for the half hour. If I stopped at a store, why did I stop at the store? I didn't tell him that I was going to stop at the store. If the trains or the buses were late, he always said to me, why are you always blaming it on the trains, or why are you always blaming it on the buses? You always use that excuse. And it got to the point where, so that I did not have to go through these interrogations, I stopped going around my family. I stopped going around my friends because he always said to me that, my friends was trying to get me to meet someone else, and they had someone else there for me. That's another thing. Women are always being accused of having someone on the outside, having someone on the outside. So I had to hear that day in and day out. I had to hear it. And so it got to the point where I was just basically, I was home. And I was afraid to go out without him because I had to come home and I had to be interrogated. The questioning started out innocently. How was the dinner at your mother's house? Did everybody come? How come your brother wasn't there? How come your sister wasn't there? And then it just escalated more and more and more. And it just started to feel uncomfortable. And then you're being told that you're lying about certain things, when you know that you're not. So here's where, the psychological effect of this wore me down. The economic abuse wore me down because I was working 7 days and I was working very hard to maintain the bills in the house because what he was doing was stashing his money away. And it took a toll on my health. This is what, when you're underneath domestic violence, it took a toll underneath my health. My house was not a house of joy. It was not a house of happiness. There was no celebrations. There was no happiness. There was no laughter like it should be in a home. The home becomes a place like a tomb. It just becomes an enclosed tomb. And you find yourself being so emotionally wrecked and so nervous. Like when he came home, I had to wait to see what kind of mood he was going to be in so that I could adjust my mood. And anything would set him off, anything. And all the attention had to be on him. It had to be on him. Everything that I did, it had to be for him. Because if I didn't, then I didn't love him. I didn't care for him. He's always accused me, well, maybe you was outside with the other man and you did it for the other man. I had to hear that over and over and over. It is hard to see a family member to go through this abuse. And I'm going to hit on the part about the church. Because I was a member of a church at that point. I come from a very religious family. My father was an assistant pastor. And they saw the effects of what this did. I lost a tremendous amount of weight under this. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I dare not try to sleep. I just could not sleep because just didn't know what was going to happen to me at any given time. And church people have this thing of telling you that you need to pray for your husband. You need to take it to the Lord and leave it there. And we're going to pray for you. And you need to, because you took vows. And so they're encouraging you to stay in a very dangerous situation. Very dangerous situation. Like I said, I was lucky thanks to the Women's Resource Center at the Borough of Manhattan Community College. They helped me. I walked in there and I told them what my problem was, and they are the ones who helped me. But I was lucky. I was lucky. We always hear cases in the news where women don't escape the violence of their abusers. The children don't escape the violence of their abusers. As family, I am sorry, but we need to help. We need to get involved before it is too late. Domestic violence is a hidden secret in some people's home. And people do not understand that educated women, rich people, you're not even aware of the abuse that goes on in some of these rich homes. You have no idea. And people say because they have money, oh, I would get up and I would leave. You should hear some of the stories. You should hear some of the stories. Domestic violence is a hard road to walk. It is a very hard road to walk. It is a very dangerous road to walk for anyone who is unfortunate to find themselves trapped. It is not easy to just get up and walk away. It is not. There is a lot of fear and brainwashing instilled in the person who is being abused. It took me years and years and years of therapy. I had to move out of into an entirely different borough. I couldn't even go to the borough in Brooklyn where my family lived for a very long time, and if I did, it had to be at night. And I walked the streets in fear. I went to school in fear. I went to work in fear. And it took a long time for me to understand when I was safe. But it doesn't end there. You go into relationships, or at least you try, you attempt to heal and go into relationship, but you are always on your guard. You're always on your guard. People say you heal. You do heal, and it takes a long, long, long time. People don't understand the trauma, the trauma that this caused and the scars that this leave. And sometimes some women never, and some men, they never are whole again. I'm going to stop right there because I do talk about more of my personal experience in my book, The Waiting Game, that's available now on Amazon. I'm hoping that me sharing my personal experience, that people will look around in their family, friends, houses of worship. Watch out for the people who you feel are just in relationships or exhibiting signs that they are in abusive relationship. Try to get them help. Try to build a wall of protection around them. I don't know what else to say, but you need to try. We need to try. There are too many lives, children, women, and men that are being lost to the hands of their abusers. So, this is Conversations with JR. Let's start to have conversations even about the difficult issues so that we can start to heal. Thank you for listening.